Hello, champions, and welcome to the very first episode of the What's My Role podcast. We're a group of friends exploring the many realms of World of Warcraft and MMOs, sharing our experiences, learning our roles, and embracing the chaos. I'm Bean.
I'm Beck.
Donnix.
I'm Fetus.
There we go. And I think we're going to be joined by Lance today later. He's feeling under the weather. Not sure. We'll see if we have another surprise visit from him. Today's topic is introductions and origins. And since this is the first episode, we'll be introducing ourselves as individuals and the idea and purpose of What's My Role as a podcast and YouTube channel. Quick updates on channel-related news. We're continuing to release the Questline Chronicles every Friday. We're recording these What's My Role podcasts. We're probably going to release like 3 all at once for everybody to listen to, and then I think maybe Monday or Tuesday will be the weekly release for that. We're also throwing around ideas for other series we could do. One thing we're talking about is Mythic Mafia, where we just run mythics and don't know what the hell we're doing. There's a What's My Lore thing we might be doing, where we kind of just go over lore and learn it and teach it at the same time. And then I was thinking like a PvP series. I don't know if how you guys feel about doing PvP.
With our mains? Or with
it would probably be, I was thinking we could run like horde characters since we're all alliance.
No, we could. We could do that.
And then these could
I'm
be
down
just
for
like,
PvP.
yeah, these could just be like specifically PvP characters maybe. I don't know if we would want to like level PvP or just max out a character and then run PvP. But I mean, we could throw around ideas if you guys have any like thoughts on it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm down.
To ruin someone's day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be fun to get in there. I know there's 3v3s. What are the other things for PvP? I know there's like
You can do 2v2s as well.
Okay.
Than just the regular battlegrounds too.
Yeah.
And Battlegrounds is like, isn't it like 40v40 or something?
Chaos. Oh, it's not 40v40.
No.
Like the large ones are like Altric Valley. I think that's 40 on 40, but the rest are like what, 20 on 20 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I know from playing a little bit in WoW back and forth over the years that there always seems to be a power imbalance when you talk about like these what are they, like battlegrounds, or what are they called? Guns?
Yeah, battlegrounds.
Yeah, battlegrounds. There's typically a power imbalance between the factions. So, like, I know the one that we were on. Becky, do you remember the name of the server we were on before we came back to WoW?
Ooh.
Was it Muradin?
No. It was
That's the one.
That's what we're on
No,
now.
that's where we're on now.
I could pull it up real quick because
Yeah, I don't remember.
Well, anyways, there was a huge advantage being Horde. There were a lot of really, really hardcore PvP players who were Horde, and so if you were Alliance, you got steamrolled.
yeah, so we would want to join like a balanced PvP server specifically, probably. Yeah.
Well, I think now they group
Or is it
like a few different servers together for PvP to try and help with that, but I'm not entirely sure. I haven't jumped into PvP in a while or paid attention to it.
We'll just have to really look into it.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be like super noobs in PvP. You guys were playing on Aerothor? Is that it? Or was it Greymane?
I don't think it was Aerothor.
Greymane.
It was
It was
Greymane.
Greymane?
Yeah, that's
because
where
I have
we
a
were.
character on
Yeah.
Greymane from looking at it right
Yes.
here.
Yep.
Okay,
That
so
would
yeah,
be
I
the
thought
one.
some kind of PvP something would be fun. Just because, I mean, we already don't know what the hell we're doing and everything else we're doing.
Yeah, something different.
Perfect.
And we can go back to the Horde side.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so WoW weekly. We're not doing a weekly recap because this is the first episode. So, introductions. So, how about Beck? You want to tell us about your gaming background, your role in the group, and your experience with WoW?
All right, my gaming background is I'm mainly an FPS player, but got into more RPGs playing the Elder Scrolls series
Classic.
and getting into Assassin's Creed. Then Fetus got me into playing WoW. When it first came out, I could not stand the game.
Same.
But I started playing with Fetus, and from Battle for Azeroth on, man, I put so much time into that game. Like, more MMOs are just for chill gameplay with friends.
You're like a super grinder when it comes to
you are.
you'll like get your heart set on something and then you'll spend like hours and hours.
I can't imagine actually how many hours you have in like DayZ Epoch.
Oh,
You remember back in the day? You played DayZ
Well,
Epoch?
let's put it this way.
You spend
In
hours. Yeah.
DayZ Epoch, you get negative 1,000 humanity for every player you kill. I was negative 300,000.
Damn. You nasty dude.
Bro, I would drop all my gear and just run to the flight lines.
Yeah, that was a little bit before my time playing with the crew, but hell yeah. All right, how about you, Fetus?
My name's Ryan, but I go by Fetus.
Now you do.
Just want to throw that out there. Just because I typically, whenever I make a character in any game that gives me a name choice, I usually go with Golden Glove Fetus. And I'm stupid. I came up with it years ago. I think when I first started getting into like PC gaming, I played games my whole life, but in like 2013, I built my first computer. I played WoW on like a crappy laptop or something like that, like during Kata, but I didn't play it a lot. I had a buddy named Cameron who was really into it, and then I came back in Warlords of Draenor and played pretty hardcore in it. The only thing I think I didn't do were raids, and that's just because I wasn't comfortable. Like I felt like I was gonna get everybody killed. And then I played a lot in Legion, and then BFA with Beck and a few others started getting into Mythic. And then I think every expansion since BFA. So yeah, so the next two, right? So you had Shadowlands after BFA, and then now this one.
Dragonflight.
Doing Mythic raiding. But yeah, I've always kind of loved WoW, and I like tanking.
Tanking and spanking.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hell yeah. How about you, Derek? I mean, Donnix. Shit. God damn it.
Strike one.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen a lot.
So
That's what you get. That's what you get.
yeah. So I started out playing EverQuest. Me and a buddy of mine got big into that and played that for years. And then once WoW came out, I picked it up about a month after it came out. And I've been playing it ever since, on and off. Good times and bad times. But yeah, other than that, I've played just about every MMO that's ever came out, unfortunately.
The good and the bad.
The good and the bad. Basically, you name it, I've tried it. But yeah, and then I played with a different group than you guys for up until this expansion. I think this is the first expansion I played with you guys. I didn't play with you guys in Shadowlands.
Yep.
I had a different crew that I was playing with. Raided a lot through vanilla, and I skipped raiding. I did a little bit of raiding in Legion, and then I skipped raiding in Wrath of the Lich King, and then just kind of off and on from there, and then pushed Mythics real hard through Legion and Shadowlands, and then took a break, and now I'm back.
Back in the clutches of Blizzard. All right, yeah. Me and Derek will probably give a little bit less of our history with WoW, because in an upcoming episode, which has already been recorded somehow through time travel, we go into that a lot more. But I started, and I think Battle for Azeroth, I think that's when you guys got me started, and that was the first time I'd ever played it.
Yeah, toward the end of it.
Yeah, and I wasn't really super impressed with the game, except for Mythics. And kind of we stopped playing it. That I feel like that time didn't last as long. And then when we did it in Shadowlands, we did it again. It lasted a little bit longer. and we definitely got much better in the mythics and stuff. And once again, that's what I was liking. But, you know, from all accounts that I've heard, Shadowlands and Battle for Azeroth are kind of not the peak of WoW. But I jumped back into Dragonflight with everybody, and it's been a lot of fun so far. Looking forward to it.
You definitely jumped in during the dark time.
Yeah.
I didn't mind Battle.
Shadowlands was pretty low. I didn't like a lot of the systems that they had in place, especially Twisting Nether.
The
I know
goddamn
it was like
maw.
well, it was like the maw, right?
Yes.
Or
No
the
mount.
maw. That shit was
It was really fucking
endless.
grindy, right, man? And then
Super
like
grindy.
the rep, like you couldn't even get alt going because you had to go through so much shit.
That stupid tower.
Yeah, Torghast. I didn't mind the idea of Torghast, but it would suck when you'd get through the whole thing and then you couldn't beat the last boss.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Was Torghast.
Yeah, and that happened to me a few times too. So, and it takes a long time to go through all that shit.
Yeah.
You dedicate a lot. It takes a lot of time just to get through one. Was it called a floor or a level? Or yeah, it was a level, and then you'd have, I can't remember how many floors.
Yeah, like so many floors per level, right?
Yeah, it took a really long time.
So yeah, that kind of sucked.
Yeah.
But I think things are looking up with BlizzCon,
Yeah,
all the announcements, like war bands and shit. There's a lot of good stuff coming.
I'm having fun with Dragonflight.
Dragonflight's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's
Dragonflight's been really good.
I'm looking forward to the delves in the upcoming expansion.
Oh yeah, it's like some more solo content, huh? Well, actually, you can play with up to 4 people, can't you?
You can, but it's also nice for nights when, like, let's say we all do some mythic dungeons, and maybe one person, maybe 2 people get a drop, right? That's useful. The other 2 can like hop in a delve, right? Even if nobody's on, and
Still get something done.
The concept, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, but the concept is that you can find or receive the same level of gear if you're performing in a delve the same way you are with like your friends at a mythic.
Yeah, from what they were saying, it's another means of gearing.
Yeah,
So,
which I think it's great. I know there's some people who don't think so, and but I don't know. I think it's
I mean,
it kind
why
of
not
again,
have more options?
Well, I think, and not that I agree with it, but I think the big thing is people are concerned. Some people are concerned about like having another Warlords of Draenor, where you have what was it called? Was it your not your
Garrison?
camp? Yeah, your garrison. And it was like a lot of people felt like it took you away from the rest of the player base.
Right.
So I get how some people might feel like it's taking the MMO aspect away, but I think it's more beneficial than any kind of hurt it would do, especially for groups like doing what we were just talking about, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it gives people who don't have that many people to play with the opportunity to get the gear.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they've been kind of going towards solo players for a little while now. I mean, it started way back with the LFGs and the LFRs. People that didn't necessarily want to be in a raiding guild or, had a group of people that could still, do something. So it's definitely them catering more towards solo players, which is good because there's a ton of solo players out there. But giving them the ability to still progress gear wise the same as, a person would pushing mythics.
Yeah. From what they were saying though, it's in the open world, but once you find like the entrance to it is when it becomes instanced. So I don't really think it's really taking you away from people because you're still in the open world. You're still going to be encountering people all over the place. It's just like once you enter the delve, which is no different than entering like a dungeon or something, right? Like it's instanced in the dungeon. You're not going to find like a million people in the dungeon.
Right.
Okay, so I think that's our brief kind of introduction. So I'd like to encourage some community interaction at this point. So in the comments, if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, or if you just want to share your own experiences with WoW, what you think of Dragonflight, how you started playing WoW, anything like that, go ahead and comment, and we'll read the comments, we'll respond to the comments.
Ooh, some thoughts on the War Within coming out?
Yeah, if you got anything to say, really, throw it in the comments. We'll probably discuss it and talk back to you in the next podcast. So the main topic, what is the idea behind the What's My Role channel? For me, I haven't really talked about it yet, but I started making YouTube content, like Zelda content, on my own, and I've had a lot of fun with that. But it's not a very social game. It's a single player game, so I'm spending hours and hours and hours and hours playing Zelda by myself, and spending hours making these videos and putting them out. And sure, people see the videos and they might comment on the videos, but it's kind of really lonely. And I enjoy playing the game, but I crave human interaction and the sultry voices of my co-hosts here. So I really wanted to start an MMO YouTube channel. And originally I was thinking it was going to be like a New World channel because that's what we were playing before this. But I kind of got inspired by the BlizzCon video that Donnix had shared. And I know
I corrupted everybody.
yeah,
with.
I know Fetus was a little bit salty because
About what?
you were a little bit salty about you and Joey had both said, "Hey guys, let's play WoW."
Well,
Come
yeah.
on. And me and Donnix were like, "No, f- that."
We were like
dude."
the investors calling their clients early to let them know to get in on something, and you guys
yeah,
totally shut us
something has
out.
just come across my desk, and I've got to tell you.
yeah. I don't want you to miss out on this once in a lifetime opportunity.
No, yeah, and me and
He
Donnix
just
were
had to make his
instantly
own
like,
idea.
"Nope, not gonna fucking pay
No.
$15 a month and play
No.
WoW again."
Pretty sure the exact words were that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm pretty sure that's what our buddy Gravel Throat Goat, who might be joining us later, thought about
Well, he
that
still
idea
says
as well.
that.
Yeah.
He's back from Baghdad.
Yeah. He still complains about playing WoW, but he doesn't really have a choice in the matter because we love him too much. So he has to play games with
right.
us.
We
Yeah.
force them.
I think he's starting to maybe like it a little bit, like that much.
When you love your kids, sometimes you gotta do the hard lessons.
Yeah,
you know?
sometimes you gotta bust out the belt,
right.
dude. So yeah, that was the idea behind the channel, and I kind of pitched it to my buddies here, and most everybody was like, "Hell yeah, that sounds awesome." And then Goat was like, "I don't want to," but he didn't have a
I'll
choice.
do it since everybody else is doing it.
And so that's how it started. But the idea behind it is, well, I didn't really have an idea at first. I was like, let's start an MMO channel, which was the idea. And then we were like, well, what are we going to call it? So we were all throwing names out there. And I know like Mythic Mafia was a pretty popular one for us. But Fetus had suggested What's My Role? And I thought that was like such a brilliant name because it perfectly encapsulates us as a group. When we're playing games together, there's lots of chaos and confusion and nobody knows what the hell they're doing half the time. At least that's how it starts. I mean, hopefully we'll eventually figure out what's going on.
Oh no, it's gonna get way worse when we go into
Yeah.
other.
So I was like,
expansions.
this would be, it sounds like a perfect name too. I'm surprised like no one else has thought of that as a name before for something because it just sounds so perfect. But I thought it was a good name and it allows us to focus on having fun more than like, here's a bunch of tutorial videos. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do this. Because there's so much of that on YouTube. And I know that there's others. There's like Let's Plays and shit, which is kind of what we're doing at the moment. But it allows for us to not have to be experts and just have fun together and learn the game together with our audience or just with each other even. So that's
Yeah, definitely don't come to us for information. There's
No.
plenty of other better YouTubers out there that have way more knowledge in this stuff than we do. We're just
yeah. But the idea is if you do something long enough, you'll eventually know what you're talking about. So
Right.
while we're gonna start off like that, I think we will eventually reach a point where we know what the hell we're talking about. So yeah, I mean that's the idea behind the channel at the moment. And we talked about we're doing Questline Chronicles, which is just us playing through the expansions in WoW. We might do some lore stuff because WoW's been around for 19 years. Some PvP stuff sounds fun. What was the other thing? The podcast. I mean, it's fun to just bullshit with each other like this too. And then, get some interaction from the community and other people that enjoy playing WoW. Because I know not everybody that plays the game is an expert just like us. Like, there's a lot of players out there that don't know what the hell they're doing either. So that's kind of my piece on it. Like, what do you guys think about? I guess we'll start with you, Beck, again. Like, what do you want from the channel? What are your goals? Like, what do you think of it? Just say whatever you want.
Man, this channel is just for me because obviously I make content shooters.
We did it all.
I stream shooters. But this is to play with the boys, have a good time, have a few drinks, and just cause chaos.
And that will happen every time.
What you got, Fetus?
So for me, like, I'm really glad everybody liked that name because I think we had a bunch of good names, but it felt like just right for me, and I didn't want to say anything. I was really hoping everybody liked it. So I think it encapsulates us perfectly. And anytime you jump in a new MMO or you play with a new group of people, you're trying to find where you fit, right? So you're like, what's my role? Like, where do I fit in? And how do I contribute to the group? And that's in anything that you play, right? So I was really, really happy that we agreed on that for the name. And Bean's done like a lot of good work for setting up like our logo, and all the guys in here have been super supportive to put content together and get together, even though life's sometimes a pain to get the time and make some content together and just be silly and goof off, just be ourselves, and hopefully become more knowledgeable about WoW and other MMOs.
Maybe.
What are you guys talking about?
Jeff?
We got the most knowledgeable person in a channel in our Discord right now.
Yeah, that's probably I'll cut that, but
Oh no, you won't.
You can cut things?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, hey, Derek, do you have a fan on, bud?
I don't. It's my mic.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get a
this
new
mic's
mic.
bad.
Okay.
That's why
No,
I
I
said
know.
that in the chat.
We're not cutting
No,
this
I
either.
already got one picked out, and I'll get it next week.
Awesome.
Yeah, he was. I was talking to Mikey about the recording. He's like, dude, like you got some crazy hum coming through your microphone.
Yeah, dude. I had to set up the noise gate, but whenever he talks, the noise gate kind of stops working, and you can hear all the jumps with his voice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. We'll improve over time. Like, obviously, we don't all have the best gear.
Yeah.
Once we're making millions of dollars from What's My Role, then
Nerd.
No, dude, the condenser mic I have right now costs. I spent $20 on it.
Oh, dude,
sounds like it.
don't buy condenser mics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. There's condenser mics are super. Are you saying like your mic takes 48 volt phantom power? 'Cause that's what a condenser mic.
Probably, yeah. That might be what that hum is.
So, well, no, what it is condenser mics are meant for like soundproof studios.
which
So like
We
you
clearly
can
know
hear a
that.
fly. You can hear a fly fart with a condenser mic.
Speak for yourself.
I'm serious. Like you can rub your hand on your pants and you'll hear it through your headset. Like
He just did it.
yeah, he did it.
yeah. So condenser mics are great for like in a soundproof studio, but you want a cardioid mic.
No, I was looking at like a Yeti Blue.
Oh, that'll be fine because it's probably not a true condenser. It probably doesn't run off of 48 volt phantom.
Bro, I'd say just get a
Yeah.
HyperX.
Like
Well,
these fancy.
I can't go all out right now.
Dude, if you look at like the good
you-
mics, it's crazy expensive, bro.
Oh, I
What is-
know. I was looking at them
I
the
know.
other day.
This is not
Bro.
top of the line.
Bro. This is
This one was
fucking-
not cheap.
This is a $500 mic.
Oh hell yeah! This one was like
Jesus.
what you say, like 180 or something.
Yeah, this is
The one I was looking at was like 130.
This is a Shure SM7B. This thing's gnarly.
I think this one when I bought it was $200.
200. Yeah.
Yeah.
That might have been what I paid for mine.
No, I'm gonna order a better one next week.
You'll be fine if you get the snowball one, because I think I know what you're talking about.
It's not the snowball one. It looks like your guys' mics you have now.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Hell yeah. So did you have any other thoughts or?
Yeah, I guess we can get back on track.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, the only other thing that I think I would add, as far as like the goals for the channel, I mean, honestly, man, if people like what we do and they enjoy it and they like to follow it, then for me, that's the goal. Like, I just hope that happens.
Yeah, hell yeah. Obviously, we want people to enjoy it.
Yep. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be
Right.
fantastic.
Like me personally, I don't really have a goal with this. I mean, out of all of us, I'm probably the least experienced at any like YouTube streaming, any of that. Really, for me, it's just hanging out with you guys and playing and just bullshit like this. And if people like it and they listen and they watch, that's awesome. I hope we're entertaining. But yeah, I mean, me personally, it's just about hanging out.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that's the aspect that people will enjoy the most, is just the camaraderie.
That's my whole gaming life, is just hanging out with the boys.
Exactly. I've noticed that I say exactly a lot.
Exactly. At least you're not talking with your hands.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's true. Yeah.
What's the deal with that
Alien.
line phone?
Yeah. Very nice.
Okay, so we might hear from Lance, but what else do we got?
Well, do you want to talk WoW stuff, or do you want to just? This is what I say, man. From what I know, just somebody pick a topic and we'll flow into it, and then we'll just let the conversation go where it takes us.
Yeah, well, since we kind of already did introductions and stuff, we can just kind of talk about what's been going on in the game and stuff. So,
yeah,
who's got something to say?
I mean, I do, but if anybody else
WoW?
wants to go.
What'd you say, Joey?
Because I haven't been on WoW in a little while.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I've been busy, man.
About that work life.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, I'm ready to see more for The War Within.
Yeah, that should come out in like summertime, right?
Yeah, they should start releasing stuff soon.
Well, even before it comes out, Warband and stuff.
Like a pre-patch.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Do we want to talk about? Are we going to play in the test server?
I'm down.
I don't think. It depends. From a content aspect, if that's your goal, then it would make sense. But otherwise, like, I don't want. If you want to experience the first day when it goes live and things like that. So
that'd probably be more fun to not f around with it then, and then have once you like jump into it, you get the launch day experience, and you get to see all the surprises and the new things. It'll be more exciting that way. Yeah.
That
We could just
go ahead. Content wise, I'm not sure if they have anything out there about what we can show and what we can't if we are in the test server.
Oh.
I mean, once they make it a public test server, I'm pretty sure that's
there is no way they could stop
private,
something from being leaked at that point.
That's not an you don't
That's
need
true.
an NDA or anything like that.
That'd be for like beta stuff.
Yeah, a closed beta.
All right, so what did you have, Fetus?
I was gonna ask what you guys think about. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when we played in Shadowlands, I know they had either weekly resets or they had this. I don't remember there being seasons where it was like one new dungeon from the expansion, the latest expansion, and then a bunch from the past expansions. And how do you guys feel about that?
I don't know when they started that. I don't remember that being a thing. When we were playing, we were just playing the current Shadowlands dungeons and running those mythics, and we were getting keys for those dungeons.
Yep.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not playing this to go back and play old dungeons.
Yeah. Which, I mean, there's kind of like positives and negatives to it.
Good recycling of old content.
Yeah. It gives them a reason to go back and experience old content, but I don't know did they tweak any of this old content whatsoever? or is
Well,
it
you
the
got to
same?
think the weekly affixes will be applied. As far as like increase in difficulty of mechanics, I don't think
Mm-hmm.
so.
No, I think the mechanics stay the same. It's just that the added deals that the mythics put into the dungeons that kind of change them. Other than that, the bosses still have those same mechanics they did back then.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's all basically all new content because I haven't
Yeah.
played most of that, so it's all like, oh, what the what's this?
I mean, that's fair, but we're also doing the Chronicles where we're going back and playing all of it anyways.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I want to play the new dungeons now.
Yeah. Well, I need to look it up. My thoughts would be that the first season would be all new dungeons, but I don't know if that's how it was.
I don't either.
I don't think so with the way that, like this season is with, there's only like 1 or 2 new dungeons in this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm assuming they probably did this through the first 2 seasons as well.
That's interesting. I don't know how I feel about it though. I mean, I
think
you
there's
were
5
saying,
then.
Beck, I want to play like the new dungeons and I want to learn the new dungeons.
Yeah.
Which I mean, you can still play them, but you could the
Well-
highest you can do is Mythic 0 on them, right?
Yeah. You have to think of one thing though. We're also late to the party on this expansion,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
for the majority of the player base, right, just playing devil's advocate,
Mm-hmm.
the majority of the player base has already gone through these dungeons probably multiple times. And it probably helps with the longevity of keeping the player base entertained to include dungeons that they didn't have to complete in the current expansion. I think that's the main reason they did it.
Yeah, that's a fair point because like there's already so many dungeons in the game, and
Hey, I tried to get you guys when the DLC first released or the expansion first released.
did you actually pay for it then? You got like a free month or some
Yeah.
shit, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you want everyone to pay when you're playing it for free.
You were being a poor salesman, man. Your salesman pitch wasn't as good, and apparently mine wasn't
apparently.
either.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe if you'd been like, I'll pay for your
Bean had to make it
subscription.
his own idea.
Yeah, and then Donnix and Bean are just like, yeah, we're gonna do this, guys. So
Fucking deal with it.
yeah, it's like Jesus Christ, that was
Well, you guys
fast.
didn't pitch it like Metzen did, man.
We pitched it way better than you guys did. You guys were just basically like, yeah, sounds good. All right, we're gonna go, guys.
Hey, we're playing.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, we're doing
You guys
this.
didn't even pitch.
Well, I wasn't so much pitching WoW as much as the MMO channel, but WoW was
Right.
just kind of the game I was choosing to
Yeah.
start it with, really.
No,
Yeah, I
and
think-
WoW makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think my message in the group chat was like, so I'm playing WoW.
yeah,
Just gonna say that.
yeah. You just threw it out there that you were playing it
And
already.
then you try to make it sound like it's I'm playing WoW because my wife's playing.
yeah,
Yeah.
like as if you didn't
My wife's
enjoy it.
fault.
not because I decided I wanted to play WoW.
That's
I had my
fantastic.
reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was I gonna
I said
say?
what I said.
No, I think overall it's been really good though.
No, I've been pleasantly surprised, man. Like coming back and playing, like I was hyped up from the stuff I saw on BlizzCon for the next expansion coming out and all the stuff they were doing. I didn't really have high expectations when I jumped into Dragonflight just because of how the previous expansions went. So I was just like, I'll jump in, level a character to 70, get stuck grinding rep, get bored, leave again. But nah, man, I've been having a blast.
Yeah, it's been fun for sure.
Especially having a crew to play with too. Like, obviously if you don't have a group to play with or something, you're stuck doing LFGs, LFRs. That has its own frustrations to it.
Just gotta wait for the next expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with MMOs, though. It's like they're always just way, way, way more fun if you actually have a crew that's running stuff with you. Where like the solo experience is much less satisfying.
Yeah, I think it depends though. I think I'm of the persuasion that yes, when you do things with a group, it's way better. But I think in MMO, if it has, I think the key thing is to also have content that's not necessarily PvE. Like someone, if they want to be a crafter and that's like their end game, that would be really cool, right? So like you do orders for people and things like that, and that's kind of like your end game. You know what I mean? I think a good MMO needs those things too, you know?
Yeah. Where there's like multiple ways, like play the game how you want it. It's like
Yeah.
your second life almost, you know?
Yeah, and you're still existing and contributing in this world, right? Because you're crafting wares that other people will use. So you still, in a sense, you're isolating. At the same time, you're not, because you're still, there's some type of interaction with other people.
Right. Yeah, and then
Yeah, I
there's
mean,
the whole like RP thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing is I think WoW has, no matter how you want to play it, you can play it, right? Like if you want to be that guy that just makes stuff and, grinds out materials, you can do that. If you want to play by yourself and just find every little nook and cranny in the game, that's in there too. If you want to play with a group and start pushing mythics, I mean, it's definitely caters to every play type. It's just the issue in the past has been the gating of the different play types and forcing you into a playing in a way that you don't necessarily want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like one example of that is the Great Vault. There are 3 slots, right, in the Great Vault for PvP. So if you're exclusively a PvPer, you have much less that you're getting from the Great Vault. And if you're exclusively a PvE player, that's 3 just worthless slots in the Great Vault. And I know they're changing that and making it so the PvP has its completely own kind of track, right?
Yeah.
To where you could play PvP and every time you're playing it, you're earning good PvP gear, but it has no effect on your Great Vault. So I feel like that encourages you more to branch out than having this like exclusionary system, right?
Yeah. I think you do have to have a limit, right? There has to be a line where you can't say everybody can have the same thing as everybody else, right? There's got to be a reward for doing something to accomplish something that other people may not or will not, obtain.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's still rewards need to be unique. You know what I mean? If there's some type of really cool reward you could get for like grinding some serious solo hours into something, that's cool. And if you can get something unique from grinding and playing some hard, shit with a group of friends, that's really cool. I just don't want it to be like the items are the same or, things like that. It takes away like the individual accomplishment.
Yeah.
Right?
I think another good example of that is like the PvP transmogs. They're like the black and white ones, right? Because me and Donnix were looking at that, and those ones typically look the coolest for all the tier sets.
Yeah, they do.
So that's like one good reason to get into PvP is if you want like the black and white kind of transmog setup.
Yeah. Well, it'll depend on the season too, or in like the expansions as to what the gladiator gear will look like.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of the first seasons I can remember where the gladiator gear or the PvP gear looks the same as the tier gear that you can get for dungeons and raids and stuff like that. It's all just changed by color variants.
Oh, before it was like completely different?
Oh yeah, usually before they would have like their own gladiator set that looked different than like whatever the current tier set was.
No, I did not know that. It's very interesting. We were talking about different ways to play the game, and I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but apparently there's a Goldshire Tavern or something for RP.
Oh God,
I've been.
You've been there?
You want me to tell you my story?
Yeah, tell us the story.
Well, I'll tell you.
can't just
I'll tell
leave
you a
us hanging.
story. I'll tell you a story. All right.
Sit
So,
down. Kids.
do you know what the name of the server is?
It's like something like I can't remember. If I heard it, I would know it.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of this.
I'm gonna look
server
it up real
either,
quick.
but it's it's in Goldshire,
Okay.
and it's some serious RPing, but it'll tend to include like people who like to get a little sex chat going on.
They want to clip your brains out.
Oh shit,
So-
dog.
So this is the thing, right? So get this. So Cameron, right? I told you Cameron in the beginning of this. Cameron got me into WoW, and I started in Kata. So one night, it's called it's not Evermoon.
It's
I can't
Moonguard.
remember the name. Thank you, Moonguard.
Yeah.
And so we go there, and we go inside the Goldshire or whatever the inn, right? And some people are like on top of each other in the game, and they're they're doing things. So we laugh and we think it's it's kind of crazy, and we say some pretty like outrageous stuff just to like be ridiculous, right? But act like we're all in on it. And we go over to this farm, and there's this goblin riding on a motorcycle, and I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. This is straight up how this goes. They don't know we're watching. Like, we're on top of the building and angling our camera down, and they ended up showing up like around us. So the goblin rolls up, hops out, and he basically prostitutes another player on the server.
He's a pimp?
He's waiting outside the bar. Yes, he's a pimp.
That is
And
fantastic.
they have the conversation about like they haggle and everything, like in front of the barn.
Oh my god!
And so then he, the pimp goblin's like, "I'll be right back." Jumps on his motorcycle, rides over the hill, and then he shows back up, and it's a motorcycle with the side cart. So he puts the prostitute player in the side cart,
side piece,
and rolls on up to the barn. And we're dying, and we're just watching from the roof. And she gets out, and I remember the pimp said something like, you get like, you got 10 minutes or you got 20 minutes or whatever. And he paid like in-game gold, right? And
wow.
They
New
went
business idea
into the barn, and Cameron and I had these toys that would turn us into these little red blobs of slime and make us really tiny. And we drop off the roof, turn into these blobs after the pimp drives off, and the prostitute and the player go inside the barn, and we slink on into the barn, and we would watch around the corner. And they were saying some pretty
raunchy things,
raunchy adult things.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, I'm reading the text on the bottom of the screen, and it says, "What the hell are you two doing?" And
They saw
turn
you.
my camera on, and it's the pimp.
Oh shit!
And Karen types out "run," but we're just like two slug slimes, and we're like going across the ground, and the pimp just types like LAFM, what is it? Laugh my ass off or whatever.
Yeah.
Like in the chat. But like that was the funniest thing I'd ever seen, to watch people, take it to that level.
I bet it's
Clicking the
actually
brains
pretty
out, man.
funny for everybody else watching, though. Like, you're just two like
Oh, yeah.
peeping toms.
Yeah, basically.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that was amazing. And then I think I got into a PvP one-on-one with another Vengeance Demon Hunter. Oh yeah, so like this wouldn't be Legion. This was Legion.
Mhm.
Yeah, this was during Legion.
And Moonguard, has it always been like as infamous
I
as
think
it is
for-
now?
I don't know if it's more infamous now as it was then. I mean, it was popping off. Like, you had server lag and stuff from everybody being inside
Right.
the inn. It's pretty nuts.
Damn. That's crazy. That's a pretty
Well,
hilarious
that's
story.
kind of infamous area in all the RP servers. I mean, I know that server is kind of a little more notorious for it, but
Yeah.
at one point, we were on a RP PvP server. I don't know why we selected it or whatever. Definitely wasn't into RPing, but
Yeah.
like you'd walk in there because Goldshire back in the day, like that was a starting area. So like when you first made your character, a human character, that was your questing area. So you would always have to like go into the end to, there's always a few quests in there to do. And just some of the shit you would see and hear is just insane. Like it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah. I'm not crapping on people who like
no.
RP. Like,
no,
there's legitimate forms, where people have they just play very strictly to their character and their role, and they have a backstory and everything else. But like
Grand Theft Auto.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
but you can't say it's not funny the other side of it, right?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Well, I mean, like there's RPing that you're a human warrior, and then there's
Right.
RPing that you're a goblin pimp. You know,
Right, right, yeah.
There's just
I vote for the
yeah.
Goblin.
Subtle
Pimp.
differences.
I mean, I think it's kind of awesome though. Like,
It
what
is
a
awesome.
character.
Yeah.
I mean,
he probably made bank.
how different is it than just like playing D&D though? Just like rolling dice with your imaginary character. It's probably more fun to do it in a game like WoW or something, honestly.
I don't know. I never played in a D&D campaign that kind of shit happened.
I'm just not very good at like I have a hard time becoming very like enthusiastic about a role or something or pretending, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess I could do it in typing. Like that'd be fine, but if I had to talk, like I'd probably
Yeah.
struggle. I'd be like super self-conscious.
It's hard to do, like, but I mean that's not typically
Become a
how I
fantasy
play
thief.
games either. I'm more about like, hey, let's go do a dungeon or something. But you
Yeah.
know, for sure, we're not like crapping on anybody that enjoys
Nah.
playing, you know, RP. Like, have fun, dude.
No, I mean, like, there's a lot of cool YouTube videos of like people that play on RP servers. Like, the big one during with the WoW Classic is Globulus. I think that's the one that all the streamers play on.
Yeah.
And like some of the stories, like videos, there's like a dude who RPs as like a ice cream salesman.
Wow.
And like he will run around and like sell people ice cream, and that's what he does all day. I mean, that's cool. Like it adds
Yeah.
different flavor to the game. They're like creating their own NPC for the story that other people can interact with.
Yeah, I mean, and that's half the reason most people play a game like WoW is for
Yeah.
the social interaction, really.
Yeah, I can't do the RP stuff.
And that's perfectly fine.
Right.
But I can do it like to a certain degree, but like, not like really seriously, you know.
I would get bored. And I just start doing whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, speaking of like you were saying, like making their own little world or their open world. You know that game Valheim?
Yeah.
Are we strictly? Apparently, some I don't know if they're modders or exactly what their community that support the game, and they're actually making an MMO map of a world for there to be multiple players playing in with NPCs and quests.
Oh wow.
And they even like structured buildings off the building materials from in game, and they made distinct zones that match the environment with the architecture. Like it's actually really well done. And if you haven't seen that, I suggest you look that up. I'm sure you can easily just Google or YouTube search
Yeah.
for
that sounds cool.
Valheim MMO.
Yeah, I've never
But that'd be
played Valheim.
pretty cool.
It's a fun game.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I've specified, but the main focus of this channel will be kind of World of Warcraft, but we are for sure going to be also playing other MMOs as time goes on and stuff.
Oh, I do have Valheim. I thought I did.
I'm gonna go grab a
Well,
beer
other
real
games
quick.
in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I played Valheim for a little bit, but like obviously no one else was on playing it at the time, so I got bored playing it, so I jumped on what you guys were playing.
Yeah. I didn't mean to get off topic from WoW. I just thought it's just a way to segue into another
Oh no, that's
game.
fine.
This is
Just say whatever you
MMOs.
want, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
It's not all strictly WoW.
we will play other MMOs as well.
Yeah.
Like Defiant, the MMO that was with guns and all that stuff, that let me down so bad.
Defiant. I don't know if I've heard of that one.
It's
I saw
decently
it.
old.
Well, there's a
think
second
I
one, right?
played it for a minute.
Is there?
Isn't there a second Defiance?
I didn't think they made a second one because the first one kind of flopped.
When was
Oh.
this?
Yeah,
Oh, it was
a few years back, wasn't it?
I'll look it up. Oh, I was still in the military when that game came out.
Oh, that was a minute ago. All right.
It might have been the
2013.
movie. 2013.
Oh,
Yeah.
like 10 years
Like
ago.
I thought it
been a
was
while.
decently good,
I don't know. I'm
But-
thinking of some game that came out recently that was like a gun MMO. RPG.
What about
you're-
the day before?
Are you talking?
No,
yeah,
not that hot bag of trash.
Holy shit.
bro.
How'd that turn out?
God, yeah.
You didn't
I
play that,
bought
did you?
that.
You played it?
I did. Yeah. And
Joey,
the
Jesus,
I got my
man.
money back. Don't worry.
What
I
the
got my money
hell?
back.
I
As
knew
long
that
as you
was going
didn't
to be
play it
bad
for
for me.
2 hours, you're good. I wanted to try it, and I tried it, and it was full of hackers right off the gate.
How was the gameplay, though, beyond, like, hackers?
It was Division.
Just the Division?
It was garbage. I looked at the
Yeah.
videos. It wasn't even the Division, man. Like there were so many bugs,
Oh,
and
there
like the
was
frame
a
rate was
lot.
terrible. It was horribly optimized.
I got my
Yeah,
money
that
back.
thing was a train wreck.
Are there
It's
any
okay.
good MMO shooters?
Shooters. in
Subjective.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nah.
I mean,
There's supposed to be an open world Star Wars Outlaws game coming out
Yeah.
soon.
I thought that was single player, though.
We can only hope it's MMO.
Yeah.
I thought the Division, the first one, at first, right? I thought it was good starting out.
Right.
But as I played it a lot more, and they had their problems with hackers as well, and I would get killed from people doing that. But
Going in the dark zone.
yeah, that one was okay. I think shooters are hard because it takes away. For some reason, it's easier for us to accept. It's cool to like shoot magic and slash people with swords and shoot arrows at someone over and over and over, until they're dead, like well past what it would take in real life.
Mhm.
But it kind of feels off when you
With a
take a
gun,
gun and
yeah.
you do the same thing.
It's like, okay.
I mean, apparently, Once Human is doing really well.
Yes,
Or isn't
Yes, it
Destiny
is.
2 is a big kind of sort of MMO, right?
that's that's a
Kind
sore
of.
subject for
Well,
the player base on that.
yeah.
Though, too.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
I was gonna say, and
They kind of robbed me of all
before,
my gear.
well, in all my expansions.
Yeah, I know.
Yep, me too.
You Fetus 2 lost all the expansions you paid for.
Yep.
Yeah,
because they
before they
transferred.
switched around companies or whoever was distributing it, it was a good game. I had fun with it, but like once it got onto the Blizzard launcher was when I lost my expansions.
Yeah. It never really clicked for me, really. Like, I mean, I enjoyed
Yeah.
going around and shooting, but it didn't scratch the
I
same
would say
itch.
I think it's a light MMORPG. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a light one.
Sort of like
That you
Warframe?
don't phase in. Right, well, I would consider
like Warframe.
Warframe to be even better.
Warframe was good.
As far as you go into a trading city and you see players. You go out in some of the open areas, you'll see players. I feel like the threshold for how many players could be in the same phase as you was kind of low, and
Mhm.
yeah, and then the MMO side of it, right? I don't think it really didn't have full mechanics, right, for tank and DPS and healer, did it?
You talking about Destiny still, or
It didn't have a holy trinity, did
I
it?
mean,
They don't
it
have any of
kinda-
that.
there was like a guardian class that was kind of
With
based around
abilities, right?
shields and protecting, and then there was
Yeah.
glass cannon types. But in the end, it's all shooty guys. So
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the focus wasn't so much on the utility that the different classes had. It was how much damage can I do.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like Rainbow Six had more of a role thing than Destiny did.
100%.
It was definitely
Yeah.
more strategical, and
Yeah.
That's like Black Desert Online didn't have that either.
Yeah.
that was hard. It was hard to get
God,
into
that
that.
was the twitchiest
well, that's
game
that's
I've
a-
ever played.
That's a good question, but I think it's the answer's the same for all of us, which is how do we feel about MMOs that have a holy trinity? Not every MMO does, but I'm a huge fan of it.
I enjoy that aspect of it where everyone has, I mean, just like the channel, What's My Role? I enjoy that there are very specific roles that need to be filled.
You have
Where
to have a
it's
role.
kind of like a completely different job if you're a healer or a tank or a DPS.
Yeah, not everybody doing the same thing, and
Mhm.
yeah, everybody contributes something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
mean,
there's been a
like,
lot of games that have tried to like, do their own spin on the Holy Trinity and not really. I don't know. Like, did you guys do much Guild Wars 2?
I never played that one.
I did.
Nope.
I did when it Guild Wars. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, you had people that could heal, you had people that could tank, but it never really felt like you were a healer or a tank. It was
Yeah.
really weird.
I think it's that appealing to that other side of an MMO too, right? Like, I like healing and I like tanking, but some people like to be able to bounce around or not just focus on that aspect. So
Yeah.
I could see how if you're not really dead set on solely just healing, then a game that makes you only heal lightly but lets you still dish it out could be appealing, you know?
Yeah. I just don't like it when everybody's character or class kind of ends up feeling really the same.
Yeah.
That kind of
It makes the
sucks,
game
really.
boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where it's like everyone's kind of really doing the same thing. Like, okay, this guy throws out shields every once in a while. This guy might throw a med pack down. Where it's much more. If it's more of a completely different play style than a slightly different play style.
Yeah. But I got a question for Joey and for Donnix then too, as far as that goes. How do you guys feel jumping from New World and going to World of Warcraft? Like, what are the things that you like better and the things that maybe aren't better?
Oh, World of Warcraft is more polished than New World. They need to fix a few bugs in New World
Yeah,
and make it more apparent for your role.
especially with their campaign and
Right.
like we couldn't even get Goat caught up with us because there was so much bugs impeding his path to catching up and getting to endgame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I started Dragonflight, I had a lot of bugs too.
I know you talked about one bug where you couldn't do a campaign for like Battle for Azeroth. What else did you run into?
The main story for Dragonflight where I had to go and talk to the general. The only way I could do that is if I entered war mode.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
If I wasn't in war mode, he would not show up. But once I got past the beginning area, everything else kind of ran smooth.
Okay.
With New World, you can go anywhere in that map and you're going to find a lot of bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It's a great game. They just need to polish it more.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, WoW's just, I've played it for so long that it's kind of my benchmark for MMOs, right?
It's your warm blanket.
Even when it was bad, like the playstyle still stayed more or less the same, depending on, you'll have your tweaks to classes or whatever, but that is what it is. It took a while to get used to the action combat in New World because it definitely played different than even like ESO. And not having like a ton of buttons I had to manage was nice, but it was different. For me, New World is like right there. Like it just needs some polishing. It needs a little more emphasis on the end game. I think that they have a path that they were trying to go down for end game, but never finished it. That game was never meant to have dungeons. That game was meant to be a open world PvE, but the emphasis of it was supposed to be PvP.
Yeah, they kind of did like pivot like towards the end of production, didn't they?
Yeah, because not everybody wants the PvP. Like, the world's really cool. The ideas that they have for the world is cool. The world events were cool, like, and having story behind the world events, which kind of made it feel like what you were doing mattered other than just to get gear. It has a lot of ideas, but no finish to it. if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they could do a lot with that game.
Oh yeah. I think if they got the right guys in there that can focus on the end game of it, I think it would be a great game.
Yeah.
As it is now, there's definitely a ceiling that you hit. And once you hit that ceiling, there's not a whole lot there for you unless you wanted the PvP.
Yeah. I think there was kind of a rush by the team to get the game out before it was quite ready.
I mean, that's Amazon's first game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they didn't do a bad job. They just need to put more into it.
They've definitely been branching out into it more because, like, I know they published Lost Ark, which is a whole other topic we could talk about. And then
I think they're they're also. I'm pretty sure Amazon is supposed to be doing a Lord of the Rings
They are.
MMO.
It's in the works,
Yeah.
Which man, they need to hit that.
Do you see what's behind me?
What I will say is that as far as environments go, New World has fantastic looking environments, and their dungeons, like
100%.
the setting and the mood in the dungeons, are great.
Yeah.
And I even think that boss mechanics are fine too. It's literally like you guys said, polish, right? Like when I'm tanking, it doesn't feel like my targets are interacting with me like how they should with the tank, And then I'm sure for a healer, like, how is it when you have to swap weapons to heal, right? So you're trying to dish out damage, but then you gotta swap weapons. And
sometimes it feels like I can't, if things aren't going well, I can't switch weapons, even though it kind of slows things down. But sometimes I just gotta pump out the heals, and it kind of it's a whole weird thing. But
the other issue that I had with that game was positioning, because so many abilities, like, I played a rapier DPS. So many of my abilities push me forward. So like when I was trying to stay behind like a boss or something like that, I would do one ability and then all of a sudden I'm in front of the boss.
Oh yeah, the dodge didn't work very well either.
Yeah.
Incorporating player forward movement and abilities was kind of a little different, right? In the body blocking. With NPCs.
That was painful.
And it would be a really awkward situation when, especially as a tank, and I try and face a boss away, and then he's choosing to walk towards me, and instead of just stopping when he hits me like I'm a wall, he just pushes me and slides my character back, and it breaks the immersion of it, and then you get stuck, right? So he pins me in a corner, and he's facing me, and now I can't dodge heavy attacks because I'm being body blocked. Yeah, pretty much.
I died so many times in that game getting pinned against the wall.
Yeah, dude, the body blocking, I didn't even remember that, but that was they fixed it a little bit, didn't they?
It got a lot better. From release was not good. It got a little bit better, but
incredibly frustrating though, especially if you're like a tank, like where you have to be in the middle of the action usually. So
that game got a lot better.
I like in WoW that you can move through things. You're right, it did. I think it's okay that you're moving through things because it's a strategy, right? Like it's a role-playing game, it's a strategy. So you need to be able to move and position and like complete your strategy and not have to worry about the random movements of the NPC, in that sense, body blocking you.
Mm-hmm. Or getting like stuck between like 4 trash mobs, like, and you just can't move anymore because they're there.
Yep.
Did you guys ever feel like when you were playing it that you didn't really have a rotation either?
Yeah, that's kind of a
just
thing.
Kind of like blasting buttons on cooldown.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Like, I had a bit of a rotation.
It was more like you had like an intro rotation, and then after that, it's just whenever things are ready.
Mm-hmm.
It was an intro rotation and then weaving light and heavy attacks in, right?
Yeah.
And some of the abilities did stack, or that you kind of did in a sense like, okay, I know when I use this ability, heavy attacks are going to do more damage or put a bleed. And so you would do things like but yet it was very minimal. It was very minimal. And I don't know if that was the design decision to keep hack and slash type players more in like enjoying in the combat, so it wasn't too MMO like.
Yeah, well, I think that's really kind of shows their PvP focus, where you have to choose your abilities very specifically, and
Yeah.
it's still like you need strategy when you're like fighting against other.
strategery.
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't feel so great in a dungeon,
No, not
Bro,
at
that's when
all.
you get back into the PvP and the dodge is broken. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And range destroys you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the game has a good, frame, and
It's
they
got good
just
bones.
yeah, exactly. They just need to kind of keep going with it, and it's hard to compete with a game like WoW that's been around for almost 20
Yeah.
years now.
It has its own problems too.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I feel like where it is now is where it should have been when it came out.
Yeah,
'Cause
that would have been a great
what they have.
launch.
Yeah, what they have now is a good starting point. Like, they kind of got their PVE stuff kind of, like I said, they have a path. They just need to figure out how to finish it and give people something to do once they hit that wall.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
I think graphically, you could argue, right? Like I'm all for stylizing your game because it makes it look unique, right? Like you can see something in WoW and know it's WoW simply because of the style. But at the same time, like I've heard people say that like WoW's graphics are like timeless because they're stylized, and it's like, well,
They
they're
could still
not,
be improved,
right?
though.
Yeah, they could be absolutely improved.
Everything can be improved.
Well, they've improved a lot since.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Dragonflight
Yeah.
graphics compared to like Burning Crusade
Yes.
graphics.
Yeah, I'm happy with it now as far as like the fidelity on like gear and things like that. I'm okay with it.
I mean, I'm kind of on the side of it having its own style, because it's not, not to say that New World is like, realistic or hyper realism, but they kind of stuck to their thing. Like it's a cartoony game. I mean that's what it is, and they just never really shied away from it. They've improved the looks of the cartooniness, but they've never tried to make it something that wasn't.
Yeah,
Like they've stuck to it. It is a cool art style, but it's
I agree.
if you're looking for that realism, it's not that.
Yeah,
yeah. The only place you'll see something like that is like in their cinematics.
yeah. I'm not
Yes.
looking for realism. I'm just looking for better texture with their style. I desire it because I think it'll look really good. Because I'm a fan of the style. I just
Yeah.
wish that it would be even more polished or have a higher end to it, but keep the style.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like I said, they've definitely gotten better, but compared to other games, they're not there. But like, if you go back and play like WoW Classic and see the textures and
Oh,
stuff back
cool.
then, man,
Yeah.
it's like you're straight playing something. It's
like
like
going
playing
back.
a 19-year-old game.
yeah. It's like going back
Yeah.
and playing some like PS1 stuff or
Well,
something.
it's good for system requirements though
Rough.
too, in the sense that like you can have a much larger player base that doesn't need higher end machines to play it smoothly. So that's a plus too as far as community goes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I never really thought of that point of it.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
huge plus.
That's
You don't
been
have that much drag on
yeah.
your PC.
I think that's been something that they've kind of focused on too, because so much
Yeah.
of their like really hardcore players are people that have been around for so long that maybe don't want to be upgrading their
Yeah.
PC all the
Dude,
time.
I played I remember when I lived in New Mexico, I played WoW on a $500 laptop that didn't even have a graphics card, like a, you know what I mean, like
It was integrated.
yeah, it was an
Yeah.
integrated
Oh wow.
GPU, and I could play
Rough.
just fine. It it didn't look the best, but it ran smooth enough. So yeah, it definitely does help on that end for some people.
That's good stuff. But do we want to talk about other games like Lost Ark, or What's another one we
We
played?
can.
Yeah.
Oof. Lost Ark didn't have enough content.
Well, they
Lost-
had a lot of content. It's
Lost
just
Ark had more than enough content.
that's not
It
the
just
problem
was-
that Lost
Dude,
Ark
think about how many hours. Think about how long the leveling process was in that game. I mean, holy crap! It was a fun experience though.
It was.
I
Leveling up.
really,
Combat was great.
really. That's the combat in Lost Ark was extremely satisfying. I still miss it sometimes. It was the end game, gearing up, and the extreme gambling and pay to win aspect that
Yeah.
has pushed me away from Lost Ark.
Yes, I will say, as far as being like I don't think it had a holy trinity, right?
Well, they had
In that-
support, and that's what I played. I played the Paladin class, and I really
Right.
liked it. But it wasn't the full,
Right. But you know what? They pulled it off pretty good. And as far as gameplay went, but yeah, the gambling aspect of it and chance, and I get it, it's a free to play game, but
And when you get to a certain point, it's not anymore.
yeah, it's
No.
not.
Well, that
It's
game
not.
had been out for quite a while before it hit.
Yeah, in Korea,
US.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was. I had a ton of fun with it, other than playing on the East Coast server with a bunch of East Coast people
Oh,
on the
yeah.
West Coast. And
Yeah, them East
a
Coast
game
people.
that's
Maybe it's the West Coast people that should be fucked.
Yeah.
and a game that was so dependent on
Someone who just
dodging
moved.
at the right time.
Yeah.
Made it kind of frustrating.
Well,
but
that's the
I
thing
enjoyed
too.
It.
Is usually it's the East Coast servers that are the most populated, even in WoW, right?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I have to check.
Yeah.
I mean, most FPSs are the East Coast server.
I was just making a dig at myself since I was definitely on the East Coast when we were doing that, but now I'm not.
Yeah,
So,
you didn't feel my pain on that.
yeah, those East Coast boys. Tell you what,
We got it made.
Best servers
That's
ever.
right.
But yeah,
I'm just
I mean,
glad that WoW has central servers.
Yeah, that's why.
True.
For anybody that wants to maybe see us, we play on the Muradin server.
Muradin Alliance.
Muradin Alliance.
You can jump on that struggle bus.
Yeah,
Yep.
come watch us
Got
be
room for
stupid.
more.
Talking about other games, because we were talking about the Holy Trinity stuff. Did you guys ever play Rift?
Nope.
I think I've heard you talk about that one. That was like a
Hold on.
space one.
No,
No?
that was WildStar.
Oh,
That game was great.
That's the one I heard you talk about.
Nope.
No,
never
Rift
played
came
that.
out a while ago. It's an older MMO. But what was really cool about that game was you picked a class, you had rogue, whatever. But within that class, you had a bunch of different subclasses. And you got to pick 3 subclasses to make basically the class you wanted. But what they did really good in that game was you could be a utility. So you could be a guy that did damage and healed at the same time to kind of help support the healer. And a lot of the dungeons, you had to have that. You had to have that utility guy. Now I've always been a big fan of those type of classes. That's why I love playing Discipline Spec for Priest. I get to DPS and I get to heal.
Apparently, you can still play Rift.
It is
I would
a
not.
shell of what it was.
Wow.
So it's 100%. Well, no, I'm not gonna say that. It's free to play, but they lock a lot of their stuff behind paywalls.
Mm.
Some of the most fun I ever had in PvP was in that game.
Really?
That game and the Star Wars game, Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh,
Did you guys ever
love
play?
those
You guys
games.
played that?
played
Right?
the hell
we
out of
played
that
that.
Did you guys
I
play
couldn't
the
get
D-
into it?
oh, not
Did you
that
guys play
one actually.
PvP?
We played Dungeons. I was thinking of the single player one, but
Dude, they had a.
Oh, are you talking about
I've
KOTOR?
played all of
yeah,
it.
that's what I thought
Yeah.
he
You're
was
talking about
talking
Knights
about.
of the Old Republic.
Yeah, sorry.
You're talking about
yeah, the Old
SOTOR.
The Old
MMO.
Republic.
Yeah, SNOTOR.
You're talking about SOTOR. Yeah, KOTOR was the
loved it.
single turn base.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm talking about the MMO.
So we did play that one. We played it together, actually.
Yes,
we played the
we
Old
did.
I don't think I played with that with you.
Yeah, you
guys.
did
You were
play it
with
with
us
us,
for
bro.
sure.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I remember spending time talking with you when it was just you and me online several nights.
Oh, dude, I
Speaking
love
of
that
graphical updates,
Mm. That one's
That
looking
one
kind of
was-
crusty.
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
crusty, man, and I wasn't too huge of a fan. I like Star Wars, but I don't know, man. I
feel like
couldn't get into it.
The solo experience, like the storyline, was more satisfying than the group play.
But
Yeah.
did you guys ever play the
Yeah, I
PvP
definitely
in that
enjoy it.
game?
Never did.
I
Dude,
don't
they have
think so.
They have a mode called Hut Ball, and it's basically football. Like one person will get the ball, and you have to get to the other side, like the end zone. But it's all PvP, so you're sitting there killing each other and trying to steal the ball back. Dude, it's so much fun.
Star Wars football.
Yep.
Hell yeah. You start a Star Wars football fantasy
what's up.
league.
That's right.
I really love Star Wars. I wish they would just come out with a new MMO because I feel like SWTOR, it looks crusty. It's just, I feel like it's outdated compared to how it could be.
I like what they did
That's
with the
fair.
story, though.
Yeah, the story was for sure.
was a really
that was
cool
the
part to
most
happen.
interesting part for me.
Having
Yeah.
each class have their own storyline through the game, it was pretty cool.
And yeah, we'll probably play a couple of upcoming MMOs. Like
Oh, I'm sure.
I
Yeah.
know there's that
Yeah.
anime one. I can't remember the name of it.
Blue
but-
Protocol. Are you talking about Blue
yeah,
Protocol?
it's Blue Protocol. That one looks like it might be kind of fun, but I have seen
I
some
played
people
Genshin
say.
Impact.
Yeah, I've never played Genshin, but I've heard that's
I haven't tried that
basically
yet.
like a Breath of the Wild kind of.
So what's interesting about it is like graphically it looks a lot and it plays a lot, right? As far as like how the world works and how you maneuver through it. But what's really interesting about it is you're not playing one single character, you swap through, and it's kind of cool because some of your classes will be a different type of element, right? Or it'll be like magic, for instance, and then one will be frost or something else,
Mhm.
and then one might be fire. So you could use certain elements in combination. So you'd hot swap, and it would immediately change what character you were. So you could use an ability that would then cause the enemy that, if it was combined with another element, would increase the damage.
So it kind of sets
you're
up like a
basically-
combo system.
Correct. So you could combo through the roles of players that you have, or depending on the enemy type that you're facing, one element might be stronger than another. So you would want to cycle through and swap to that one, for instance.
Yeah.
It's again, it is another, you know,
Rolling the
gambling.
dice with that,
It's gambling,
right?
so I think it'll be kind of like that.
Right.
I think it'll be all right. And if that's like your thing, the more power to you, whatever makes your meat love.
Yeah. So we might try that. We might try this Lord of the Rings thing whenever it comes out. I know there's like Ashes of Creation. If that's not a scam, if it turns out to be a real thing.
The next
It's-
Star Citizen.
Okay.
If it's what they show, man, that game's gonna be.
I've seen a lot of cool
They-
stuff for it.
I mean, they're the things they're saying. That's a lot to put into a game.
Yeah.
I mean, like the systems that they're doing, and
It, from following the content, though, it does look like they're curbing as far as what their newer systems being added now, and now they're more into like polishing and improving the systems they already have. So I do think they're going to end up releasing that, and I know that the next alpha it's like
I
next
think it's
year,
this year. Well, it's gonna be next year, I guess.
2024. Yeah.
yeah,
I can't remember what quarter, but I do think it's on the right path. I'm joking. I don't think it's going to be like Star Citizen and take us anywhere near as long.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful.
So
yeah, it's an ambitious
Engine
game for
5.
sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll play new ones that come out. We'll probably play some old ones. I know Lance has brought up shit like RuneScape.
Good Lord.
Which we'll probably have
Yeah,
to throw him
he's
a
not the
bone a
only
couple
person I
times
know
and play
that's brought
some. Hey guys, let's play old school RuneScape. Which
Yeah, we had a whole conversation on RuneScape.
yeah, which I've never played it, but just looking at it
Well, prepare-
doesn't look
you're
like
mind blown.
something.
You don't have a heart condition, do you? Yeah. Gonna blow your socks off.
The graphics alone
That's right. Hope you got a 4090 in that bad
I
boy.
have to change my pants, bro.
I tell you what, though, that game still has a crazy following.
It does. It
There must be
does.
something to it for like.
That's what you call a cult.
Yeah.
God dang.
Yeah.
So that's the podcast, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. If you've got any questions, comments, concerns, drop them in the comments. Like, subscribe, comment, share it around if you're having a good time. But we'll see you guys next time.
Feel free to mock us.
Join
in
our
YouTube
server.
videos.
Join our guild.
Oh, yeah. We have a guild, but we're on
Let's
go.
Murden Alliance. We've got the Mythic Mafia server. Not server, guild. Sorry. I've had 3 beers now. I don't know how to talk. We have a Discord. We don't really moderate it.
Don't tell them that.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
But
If you want to join our Discord, let us know.
yeah, reach out, say something, do something. All right. I guess I'm going to hit
Alrighty.
stop here. Bye
Sweet.
bye.